So the reveal season for FrostSpark is in full swing, and yesterday Warrior 7 revealed another card from the upcoming set. This card is Green Pact Ambusher. It is a 2-cost strength creature, so it's red. It is a 4/1 with both Prophecy and Guard, and it's got a pretty interesting effect. It says at the end of your opponent's turn, if they have a full lane and Green Pact Ambusher is in your hand, summon her to that lane. So first I want to talk about what makes this card unique, and then I'm going to talk about why I think this might struggle to find a home. First, this card is pretty unique because it is basically the first card that has Prophecy from your hand, right? Typically, Prophecy is a mechanic where when conditions are met, aka one of your runes is broken, you can play the card for free. In this case, the secondary ability on this is another way to say, when these conditions are met, play this card for free. Now, there are limitations on how you can play it. It has to be played to the lane that is full, and you have to have an opponent who has at least one full lane. If there's 2 full lanes, I'm not sure if it's going to pick one at random. If you'll get the choice, I imagine it'll probably plop down at random, but this is interesting because there are some cards that allow you to donate things to your opponent. So if you were trying to play this for free, you could be using something like the Night Mother, for example, get extra value there. The truth is, though, this is meant to be an anti-aggro card. The high attack, the 4 attack, means that it trades up very well. The fact that it has both Guard and Prophecy means it might be able to save you from some damage. The 1 health is a little bit concerning. There's actually more and more creatures with Breakthrough kind of creeping into the meta. It's not just Young Mammoth anymore, so there is a chance that it doesn't soak as much as you would like. In fact, I've been seeing more and more Breakthrough in relation to the number of Tree Minders that we're running around, which is also why a lot of people have been slowly cutting Tree Minder. There's always like this weird ebb and flow between those two. But the reason that I'm not a huge fan of this card is the 1 health. 1 health is brittle. It's not as brittle as it is in Hearthstone because there are no hero powers, but there are a lot of things that do 1 or more damage to creatures. Anything from your mid-range cards like Skaven Pyromancer, Cradle Crush Giant. You've got things like Rapid Shot. Murkwater Witch is running around in the Telvanni conscription lists, and curses are a thing. Firebolts, Sorcerer's Negations, Reverberating Strike, and the list goes on and on. Now, for some of those, right, like Reverberating Strike, like Sorcerer's Negation, it's probably a win for you if they use that card on this because a 4/1 isn't that exciting, but my point is that it just doesn't survive very well. It also doesn't survive very well against traditional fodder, right? It dies to Merchant's Camel, for example. Now, it trades with Merchant's Camel, which is more than most 2-drops, but it still dies to Merchant's Camel. It dies to Thieves Guild Recruit. If you're playing against aggressive opponents, still can get chewed through by ward creatures. If you're playing against aggressive opponents that might be running a Halalu list, for example, or a tokens list, your little 1/1 critters can chew right through it. Morag Tongue Aspirants can chew right through it. There are a fair number of drawbacks. Now, I do think that any decks that were previously running Protector of the Innocent may consider this. They'll have to decide for themselves. Is the additional effect and the ability to trade up better, aka that 4 attack, worth more than 1 point of health, right? Than that 2 health mark on Protector of the Innocent. I've seen a lot of people saying, hey, this is just going to make Prophecy Battle Mage that much better, and I'm not sure that I agree. There is such thing as too many prophecies. It's true that Prophecy Battle Mage likes to have a very, very high density of prophecy creatures and try to take advantage of those, but many of the prophecy creatures are understated to offset prophecy, and they're just not as efficient, and so the rest of Prophecy Battle Mage is usually ways to make up for that by either playing cards with reach or by playing cards that do have high value, like Sentinel Battle Mace, which is also a form of reach, and so on and so forth, right? But Prophecy Battle Mage typically does run things like Ward Crafter, for example. Why? Because Ward Crafter is just really good. Prophecy Battle Mage typically runs the 4/1 Orc with Prophecy. You could say, in theory, maybe you play this over the Orc because this is probably better in an aggro mirror because of the ability to play it for free. But the truth is, if your opponent is getting a full lane of creatures, then they're probably trying to race you. And if that's the case, as Prophecy Battle Mage, you should be winning that anyway. I don't think it does a ton necessarily to improve that matchup. And the guard is a drawback in my mind because you can't hide this in the shadow lane. So if somebody breaks one of your runes and this pops out, unlike the Orc that you could hide in the shadow lane and then turn that into 4 damage or more on your follow-up attack on the following turn, this card can't do that as easily. So I don't know if it will ultimately find a home. If I see it in Prophecy Battle Mage, I'm not going to be shocked. Let me start by making sure that I clarify that. There is a strong chance this still just gets crammed in. I'm just saying that I don't think it necessarily improves that deck. I don't think that it's going to make that deck go from, you know, tier 2-ish where it kind of hangs out, tier 3. It kind of depends on the meta, but I don't think that that deck just suddenly becomes a monster because of this card. This is, at best, a slight improvement. So, yeah, again, mechanics interesting. Stat-wise, I think there's a lot to be concerned about. I like the idea of the secondary mechanic. I would like to see more cards that do similar things in the future, whether or not it is based on the full lane or whether or not it's based on something else. Who knows? But I like that part. So that's encouraging. It's encouraging to see that step forward in design. I want to know what you think. Where do you think this belongs? Where would you play this card? Was there something that I overlooked? I love hearing from you guys, so let me know. Until next time, may you walk on warm sands.